configurations that effect favors from Shani, astrologer Aditya Guruji, we can see the effects of Shani attaining Subhathuva, beneficence, for all the 12 ascendants. Being the ascendant lord of Makara and Kama, Shani is destined to do favors to these ascendants. Even in the case of these two ascendants, he would give favorable results only when in Subhathuva, beneficence, on with Sukshma, intricate, strength, in spite of being powerful by placement in his own house. His placement in the ascendant owned by him or in exaltation devoid of aspect by a benefic would not do anything favorable to the native. Also, Shani would not give a good life. It is worth mentioning here that most of the world's millionaires are born with a debilitated Shani that has attained Subhathuva, beneficence, or Sukshma, intricate, strength. When Shani is occupying his own ascendant and Guru aspects the same either from the 5th or 9th house, then favorable results could be expected by the native. But, as Guru would occupy inimical houses, when being placed in 5th or 9th to these two ascendants, his aspect does not give wholesome benefits. When Shani is in exaltation to the natives of Makara and Kama, then placement of Guru in Meshur and aspecting Shani would ensure beneficial effects. Association of Ketu with the exalted Shani is also expected to give favorable results. When Shani becomes powerful directly by way of placement in own house or exaltation, aspect and association of Guru gives rise to premier grade of Subhathuva, beneficence, followed by aspect and association with Shukra giving rise to the secondary grade of Subhathuva, beneficence, followed by solitary Buddha and finally by waxing Chandra whose aspect and association gives rise to tertiary and quaternary grades of Subhathuva, beneficence, to Shani respectively. In some cases, association of Ketu would also further glorify him. Shani's placement in the 2nd house is not a favorable configuration to Makara natives. Shani in this conformation gives rise to delayed marriage and also a disturbed domestic life. Even if Shani is the owner of the 2nd house, he should neither be placed there or aspect that house. Even if the house is owned by Shani, his aspect would only be ruining the house. At the same time, Shani's placement in the 7th house and aspecting the ascendant would only weaken the ascendant. In these two cases, Shani's placement in the 7th house in Kataka, devoid of Subhathuva, beneficence, to natives of Makara would make the native an addict to liquor or some other form of narcotics. Shani placed in 7th house and aspecting the Kama ascendant, would lead to the native becoming fickle-minded, doubtful in nature and feeling inferior. To the natives of Kama, Shani's placement in the 11th house and aspecting the ascendant would do a lot of good. Shani's placement in 4th house with debilitation, with Subhathuva, beneficence, and Sukshma, intricate, strength would elevate the status of natives of Makara greatly. Placement of Shani either in the 3rd or 6th houses would do more favors to Makara natives in comparison to his placement in the ascendant. Placement either in 4th or 8th or 11th house would give good results to Kama natives. Another important concept is that Shani should not occupy a Kona house, as he is a natural malefic. That means, Shani occupying 5th or 9th houses would not bestow favors to the natives. Placement of a natural malefic, Shani, in Kendra houses like 4th, 7th or 10th and the 3rd, 6th and 10th house, wherein he attains sthana bala, positional strength, and with Subhathuva, beneficence, would do much favors during his dasa in comparison to his placement in a Kona house. To the Rishabhantala ascendants, Shani is the Yogadipati and he would behave as a complete Raja Yogadipati. To Rishabha, he would be a Yogadipati and also he holds the Bhadakadipathyam, as he is the Bhadakadipati to the natives of Rishabha. He gets exalted in the 6th house. He would do a lot of favors in this configuration when he is powerful and occupies the evil 6th house. If in addition to exaltation he also begets Subhathuva, beneficence, and Sukshma, intricate, strength, then he would elevate the native to great levels during his dasa through his significations. At the same time his placement in his own ninth house to the natives of Rishabha, would weaken the ninth house thereby strengthening his Badakadapathayam. If he is devoid of Subhathuva, beneficence, and does not get strengthened by any other means, then during his dasa he would give favors and also decimate subsequently. In one part of the dasa, he would give wealth but towards the end would cause destruction. Only his Subhathuva, beneficence, and Sukshma, intricate, strength can alter this result. If we consider the placement of Shani in the 10th house, it could be realized that apart from the ownership he also gains Mool Trikona status here. It is not appropriate to consider this configuration to be favorable as that of the Lord of Profession being seated in his own house. Rather it is only correct to predict that he would destroy the permanent career and profession of the native. If in case a native of Rishabha with Shani in the 10th house is having a permanent career, then it is certain that he could be in association with Buddha or aspected by Guru or attained Subhathuva, beneficence, by some other means. In some situations, Shani when placed in 8th or 11th house to Guru with Subhathuva, beneficence, would give favorable results to the natives of Rishabha. Apart from this configuration, his placement in any other configuration would not give good results. His placement all alone in so-called friendly houses like the ascendant or the 2nd house Mithuna, without the aspect of a benefic does not give good results. His placement in another friendly house, Kanya, would give deficiencies with respect to children. To the natives of Tula, his exaltation would attribute a shorter stature to the native. Also, the native is bound to be narrow-minded, selfish and adamant in nature. Only when the Shani placed here gains Subhathuva, beneficence, and Sukshma, intricate, strength would the results be reversed. The Shani placed here would delay the marriage and also make life turbulent after marriage. Shani's placement in Mesh or in debilitation losing his Sthanabala, positional strength, and gaining Digbala, positional strength, by way of placement in 7th house along with the aspect of a solitary guru from the 11th house would give lots of favors to the natives of Tula. Attainment of Vargotama by Guru and Shani is an additional advantage. Next, his placement in the 4th house is in a way good to the natives of Tula. Though Shani placed here would affect the house, vehicle, mother etc., but if attaining Sukshma, intricate, strength then the dasa could give promising results. Shani's placement in the 5th house being its own and Mool Trikona, special, house would not give good results, as his mighty placement is in a Kona house. The Shani so placed here would affect issues related to children. There would be loss of peace due to children. Sometimes children would be spoiled. Shani occupying 3rd, 6th, 8th or 12th house with Subhathuva, beneficence, would do good during his dasa. At the same time he would not give these results during his bhakti. Any planet would bestow his natural beneficence or maleficence while its major period is operational. A planet would be unable to display his individuality in any other's major period. Next, to the Mithuna ascendant, Shani owning the 8th and 9th houses would gain the status of being the Bajyadapathy. To this ascendant if he attains exaltation in the 5th house, then he should certainly attain Subhathuva, beneficence, and Sukshma, intricate, strength or he should get weakened. A malefic owning a Kona house and occupying another trinal house is certainly not a favorable configuration. In this arrangement, the main signification of the 5th house, being children, would get delayed or would not beget male offspring or further if Guru is also weak, there might not be any children at all. His placement in his own 8th house would give immense longevity to the native. If he attains Subhathuva, beneficence, by other means and the ascendant lord is also well placed, then he would attribute a long-term stay abroad. The support of Shukra, the owner of the 12th house, is also necessary towards this. The occupation of Shani in the subsequent own 9th house would not give good results. I had explained this aspect while giving details for Rishabha ascendant. A malefic getting powerful with the occupation of his own house that happens to be a trinal house is not a good disposition. It is true that in certain scriptures there are indications that a malefic attaining ownership of a trinal house would become glorified to give good results. According to me, this can never apply to Shani. This truth can be realized during practical analysis. Malefics cannot get beneficence just with the ownership of trinal houses like 5th and 9th houses. I have clearly indicated in my research article on Buddhakadapathy Patarya Rahasya Angle, Secrets of the Lord of Obstruction, on the attainment of Bardaka, Obstructor, status by Shani and Mangal by way of owning the 9th houses of Rishabha and Sima respectively. If Shani has to deliver favors, then his association with Guru or attainment of Subhathuva, beneficence, and Sukshma, intricate, strength is essential. Mere owning of a trinal house does not sanctify him. To conclude, Shani placed in 4th, 10th, 11th and 12th houses with Subhathuva, beneficence, would give good results during his dasa to the natives of Mithuna. His placement anywhere else would only give complications.